Nobody is a visitor to another one. Everybody is in this house and in this country to defend his community. I have no reason, Mr. Speaker, and I have no apology to speak for the Somali community in this country. I have no apology. I was in the 2007 general election. We knew what happened. We had many commissions and we had the criminal report, which is now in many shelves. I think IBC and political players must relook at the recommendation given in the criminal report of 2008. And I am sure a lot of the recommendations will help improving the management of the election system in our country. The Speaker, this committee should have gone ahead, and this House must go ahead and bring a legislation to the effect that we don't give this kind of jobs to cowards, that when the seat is too hot, you take the next flight. That should not be the case. We had 4 commissioners. One took off at the wee hours of the most controversial elections in 2017. The other 3 went to a hotel somewhere in Pan-Africa, I think along Harambee Avenue, and just resigned. The Speaker, you don't put, if you're a commissioner, don't put the country into a crisis. You must uphold and protect the position given to you by the Constitution. And I was so happy, Honorable Junet and many of the members of that commission, you have put to those members, these commissioners, will you run away, Mr. Speaker? And they all answered in affirmative. Mr. Speaker, let me come to a very critical point, that the people in this country are being cheated, that the Constitution gives IBC, and the courts have upheld that position, that it is IBC that will do delimitation. It is not a group that sits in a corner calling themselves BBI. It is not the president as the head of the executive. It's not the judiciary. It's not parliament. It is in Article 89, sub-article 4. And it says delimitation will be done at 2 levels, at 2 intervals, 8 years and 12 years. Let me go on record that even those, and it says, cannot be done 1 year to the general election. So IBC, the current IBC, the 3 commissioners and the 4 that if this House agree will join, Mr. Speaker, cannot conduct a delimitation process. They will violate Article 89, sub-article 4 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, this story of all constituencies are disappearing. No constituency is disappearing and can only be discussed when a review is being done. The next review will be 12 months from 2012, when the last review was done, and that is 2024. All these 290 constituencies will exist. Don't go to court, don't waste your time, don't cheat the people. And how do you delimit, Mr. Speaker? You delimit constituencies using various parameters: population, land size, poverty index, infrastructure. Speaker, there are people who are telling us in this country about population. Give us a break. We are not visitors. We are not visitors. We belong to this country. We occupy 75% of the landmass. North Hall alone is equivalent to central, former central, western, Nairobi combined. 1 constituency, 1 member of parliament. Mr. Speaker, we should tell the country the truth. You can't tell us about unity. You can't tell us about resource allocation. And the money that goes to devolved systems, if we didn't get it as a favor, we got it through provisions given to us in the Constitution. Why are we not discussing the 85% of the money that remains with the National Treasury? This discussion about resources is a very healthy one. Let us discuss the 15% that goes to counties, but let us also discuss the 85% that remains with the national government. We must discuss. We must have a honest and candid conversation. Nobody is a visitor to another one. Everybody is in this house and in this country to defend his community. I have no reason, Mr. Speaker, and I have no apology to speak for the Somali community in this country. I have no apology. And you speak for your community. And we must all be defended by the Constitution. The Constitution gave everybody devolution. If you want resources, if you want us to go to that discussion, let us bring on the table the national cake, the 85%, where it goes. Then we discuss the 15%. Mr. Speaker, elections are very emotive. And I want to urge IBC going forward, because the first chair in 2008-7 was the late Samuel Kivutu. I was in this house with Honorable Mili and Honorable Kimunya and many others, and Honorable Bandi and Kainan and Shaban. The next two elections was, the next chair was Isaac Hassan. Now we have Chepukati. Let us not discuss 3 against 4. Let these 7 people move as one team and give this country free, fair, credible, and peaceful election. As political players, let us give the support they need, legislative, budgetary support. Let us not dent the credibility of the IBC. Mr. Speaker, it is very, very important that the 2017 general election, and I agree with Honorable Bandi, if an election can be annulled, then the commission must relook at why that election was annulled. Because they were the referee. They were the referee. And I'm sure in their post-election 2017 evaluation, they must have seen where the problem was. But it has shown the maturity of democracy and elections in our country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let us not talk about regional balance. Regional balance is not a favor. My good friend, the leader of majority, do not appoint women who are married in another region and you tell us you are doing regional balance. That is a game which is being played. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, I mean, we want to say it. You provide and protect the spirit of the Constitution on regional balance, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am happy the former Prime Minister was misquoted when he went to Muranga and said Mandera cannot. That was a very good discussion. In fact, the Prime Minister was right. After devolution, we will discuss the national cake, the 85%. And I'm sure the former Prime Minister, if we take him that discussion, we will see the serious imbalance. Roads are not built in some regions. Water is not available in some regions. Hospitals are dying, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, let us allow IEBC to do its work. Let's have an election that is free, fair, and Chepukati and his 2 colleagues are not going anywhere. For those who feel they want to tell them, you are wasting your time, they will conduct the next election. I beg to support.